Beth. It's good to see you again. I was out in Ellis for a few years, and 3 years ago, we started thinking about a project that would save us some cost. And one of the things we did, we had old gym lighting, the halogen lamp lighting, and we thought we were really progressive when we changed that lighting. And we were. It was a good step. And I think at that point in time, I remember there was a 3-year payback on that. And everything beyond that was going to be money in the district's pocket. And the first time people came into and we did it because we were hosting a sub-state basketball tournament. That's what prompted us to move that. And we had a kind of a dull lighted gym. But people walked in and was like, wow, this is impressive. You know, this is like a new gym. Did you paint it? Did you put in a new floor? No, we changed the light bulbs. That's all we did. And it cost us $5,000. And it was just kind of an interesting thing. And then from that, about 6 months later, we said, well, if we can do that in our gymnasium, I wonder if we can do that in our classrooms a little bit. We had the T12 bulbs. I've learned what T12 bulbs were. I didn't know what T12 bulbs were. And we changed to, our gym lighting went to the T5 light bulbs. And from that point, we said, well, how about, well, there was another thing that kept coming up was mechanical issues with our HVAC, our heating, ventilation, air conditioning. I don't think I knew what HVAC was either at that time, amazingly. And my dad was a construction guy, and I didn't know what HVAC was, but Chad can appreciate that because he knows I'm not a real mechanical guy. So we looked into a project like that. I since moved on from there. The ball was rolling. I think they've done the project. It was about $1 million project. But at the time that decision was made even, we didn't enter into, and I didn't know about, the state statute, the fiscal tool, the FCIP program, and I didn't carry it that direction. And then I moved to Tonganoxie. I show up in Tonganoxie the 1st July of last year. I show up here, I learn that they're having conversations about an energy solutions project. And I said, well, I'm kind of familiar with that, and had dabbled in it a little bit in Ellis. And then I meet Kevin Ward. And we start talking about what this project really could become, besides just some new lighting and some new HVAC. And then I started, and I was new there, you gotta remember, but I got around Tammy and Jill, and you gotta realize, and I don't know if you've noticed this today, but 90% of the questions I think have come from this table right up here. But that's them, though. They're big thinkers, and we have a district full of big thinkers, and a couple of those folks aren't here today. But so this project all of a sudden took on a life of its own. Kevin started talking these bigger ideas. The conversation around the table really changed things. We had board members who were very interested, teachers who became interested, and since that time, it's amazing. It hadn't even been a year. Since that initial conversations about this project, there's been so many things that have happened, and it's one of the things I just picked up today, I'm going to steal something, it's more than just equipment. And it was just changing from a T12 bulb to a T5 3 years ago for me. Now it's about our curriculum. It's about our kids and educating our kids, and and I have kids in that system, so that is making it more meaningful day by day. a little bit just briefly about our project, and I didn't bring a PowerPoint and show you anything, but interestingly enough, once we started the ball rolling on this in really late September, early October last year, before that it was just real surface level conversation. We started headed that direction. We ended up coming up with a $2.15 million project. We did a lot of HVAC replacement, control systems, lighting, but it didn't stop there. It got a little bit creative, and it's great to have Jerry McCall here. Jerry's been working with our district from an educational planning standpoint, and that's the piece that's really kind of exciting, I think, for the Tonganoxie School District, because it's about the planning that's taking place, the comprehensive planning, the involvement of a lot of people in our community, and where that's going to take us, because really what we have our eyes on right now is building a new elementary school, and how neat that would be to build a LEED school, whether it's to the gold standard or not, but I think that would be a neat conversation, a unique conversation for us to get into as a community, and I'm looking forward to be a part of that. And like I said, I have a good team of people around us that can help that. But some other things with that project, the master planning is a big piece of our project, and how we use our facilities to become more efficient. We put in security cameras that really have enhanced the safety and security of our district, where before, you have cameras, but they may not be infrared. They don't see well, and when it's dark, they're missing spots. And it's funny when you think about what we find out is kids know every spot in a school where a camera doesn't hit. It's amazing. We may not know as administrators or whatever, but we find out because all of a sudden something happens in a spot where we don't have a camera. Outside the school, it's the same way. So now we have very, very much heightened our security system, and that gives a lot of people, you can't put a price tag on that, peace of mind. And so that's I think is a good thing, a good piece of our project. And then from there, the project has taken on a life of its own, because I don't think anybody in our district would have anticipated some of the things that have happened just towards the tail end here, when we decided to take a step with implementing a curriculum with our 6th grade students. And I'll let Dr. Dickerson talk some more about that. But what has transpired since that point, and some of the conversations we're having, and it'll be, I think, it's hopeful to see some of the things that we're seeing, and how, like some of the speakers talked about today, things that we as adults really couldn't have taken forward, but kids have a way of doing it. That's what I've experienced in Tonganoxie, and I think when we talk about building a new school, when we think about doing something differently with our schools, when you talk about a bond issue, a lot of times it's not the adults who pass that, it's probably the kids who are going to carry that forward. So it's a lot about our students right now. I'm going to let Dr. Dickerson speak a little bit, and also I would like for Mrs. George to actually say a couple things too about the grants that she has captured here. This is what I mean by momentum when I talk. I'm putting her on the spot here a little bit, but all of a sudden when you're having conversation and you move this, we have a $2.1 million project, 95% complete. It's just, how many $2.1 million projects do you know that you can start talking about in October and be done on August 1st? That's just, so this whole program has worked very well for us, but